Hello, and welcome to The Topic, where we highlight Houston Community College, our students, our programs, and our reach into the community. I'm Daniel Scholl, one of the financial coaches here at HCC, and we're here every Thursday afternoon when HCC is in session. We're live at 2 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. You can also follow us on social media as Houston Community College District, and you can watch us on HCC TV via your local cable provider. You know, summer is a great opportunity to step back, review the academic year that's just passed, and take a look forward to what's next. We're going to do that today with a very special guest. We're visiting with Mick Stafford. He's the Executive Director of Library Services here at HCC, and we're going to find out what's going on with our libraries. Mick, welcome in.
Well, thanks, Daniel. It's great to be here. I've been here a few times, and it's always exciting to be able to share some information about our libraries and what we're doing.
Yeah, well, I know y'all are doing exciting stuff, and we're thrilled to have you back. Normally when we think of student services, we think about, us serving the students. But I understand that several of your students have been contributing to us at the libraries. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that. And maybe we'll start with your the AI workshop y'all just had.
Sure. Yeah. No, that was pretty cool, and just a strange little opportunity that kind of landed on our lap. Just to give a shout out to the people that presented the workshop for us. It was Nev and Neil Shaw, and they are 14-year-olds, so they're not our students yet. They're a few years away still. 14-year-old co-founders of nexusquest.org. And how this kind of got to us was Ravi Brombat, who has worked with us in the past to bring programs to our libraries, kind of started sharing some information about these really wonderful kids that are super passionate about computers, technology, teaching, all that kind of stuff. And he worked with Keith Robinson, who's a director of libraries over for our Southwest College. And they put together a three-part series for the library staff. So it was designed for our library staff. And they were 3 hours each. And I can tell you that if I was doing 9 hours of content, the amount of prep time that would take, and for 14-year-olds to kind of put together a coherent thing, and they get a lot of support from their parents, they were super engaged. They were there filming it, so they were right there with us. Also, we had to have, because they were 14 years old, they had to have some parental guidance around. So it's pretty wonderful. But the fact is that besides that tremendous amount of prep, they really did an amazing job gearing this for AI. And so the workshop was unlock the power of AI, a workshop for library staff, and it was back in May. And it was really just amazing how they picked tools that we probably hadn't seen, some of us had, but also how they really tied it to our profession. For 14-year-olds who have never been professional librarians, they really kind of hit the nail on the head multiple times. They were just, like I said, they were truly fantastic, really polished presenters. So it was great. So we always look for this opportunity to improve our knowledge and our services, and sometimes it just pays off in great dividends. And I think they might even be presenting to another library system. Somehow the word got out. I'm sure Ravi's one of their big fans. So it was
incredible. I look back, what was I doing at 14 during summer? Trying to find a pool to swim in, I'm sure that's about it. So, I remember when I was in school, and I'm sure it's the same way today, students are doing, work all times of day, all times of night, you have a new chat. Speaking of AI, you have a chat bot for after hours support that was developed by a student.
Yeah. So another just like that wasn't an opportunity. This was something we were working on, but then the student kind of came in. But this would kind of give you a little bit of background about how we provide our virtual reference services. So during our regular operating hours, we have a chat service, and it's monitored by our librarians, our library faculty, and we've had chat on Sunday. We didn't reopen our physical spaces, but we've had chat on Sunday just to provide 7 days of service for our students. But obviously, as you mentioned, there's a lot of hours when our students are doing work and we're doing some sleeping or something like that, recharging our batteries for online live chat. But anyway, so so one of our librarians, Ramela Bose, had been working on an idea of using our existing platform, which has a chatbot feature to it. It's the same. It's just an extension of our chat services. It's not what you would think of as necessarily AI. It's kind of scripted. So how the student fell into this is that they have a work study student working for the online college. Dr. Karen Gerten Snyder said, "Hey, I've got a student that might be willing to kind of help you with this, who's in the AI and robotics program," and that's Cheyenne Hathaway. And so she was just working with Ramela, and they would actually come up in the office suite. I'm up here on the ninth floor at 3100. They would come up here in the office suite and work together and work on these scripts together. And her kind of knowledge of that really kind of polished this off and helped Ramela through the process. And like we always try to get information from our students, Ramela also put out a survey to our students. They named our chatbot Nesty, and it is live now. So after hours, we have it going on pretty good.
That's awesome. I love the collaboration there. Real quick, I was over at Spring Branch, at the start of summer, and I noticed the library was going through some renovations.
Yeah.
I also understand students had input on creating those renovations as well.
Yeah, so Alyssa Repke and Taylor Hurst, which are design students, interior design students, they really they created, and we worked with Shasta Beverage. That was our connection to them, and they drew up the renderings for it. They were there through the whole installation. Really just amazing. They incorporated elements from our digital access centers, so it was really great. They listened to us, and they came up with a really great plan. And we have a ribbon cutting coming up on August 1st.
Well, that's awesome. I think a lot of times, people don't realize that colleges are huge laboratories, right? And this is a great opportunity, I think, for students to put some of their skills to work. If somebody wants to get interested in working with the library through work study or hiring, they just reach out to one of their local librarians, or?
Well, it's kind of like a hiring practice or work study. So we kind of work out and reach out to them a little bit. They have the hiring fairs and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of our work study students have come to work for us part-time. I'm betting there's even maybe one or two that have even started working for us full-time. And I think that repeats itself across all departments at HCC. I mean, we have such remarkable talent. There's so many students that have said, well, I got my degree at HCC and now they're working here full-time.
For sure, for sure. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how HCC libraries are accessible anywhere that you can connect to Wi-Fi.
I'm learning healthcare management while providing patient care.
I came back to grow my skills, even after I graduated.
And if I can't make it in person, I take my classes online.
When a child is sick, there's one thing they need: a really big cookie.
Welcome to RMHC.
We're not big on poking sticks and beeping machines, but we're the best at playing dress up. We think the Tooth Fairy should travel everywhere, and while hospitals have doctors and nurses, we have mom and dad. Because at Ronald McDonald House Charities, we help families feel at home, even when they can't be.
Hello and welcome back to the topic. We're catching up with what's going on in the library with Executive Director Mick Stafford. Summer brings travel for many students, faculty, and staff, and HCC's library has resources for people on the go. Mick, I know that magazines and books are like a staple, right, of poolside reading. But water is a problem when it comes to magazines. And then water magazines don't always work well together, but you all have a solution, I understand. Can you tell me a little bit about Flipster?
Sure, yeah, definitely. So Flipster is a byproduct of the pandemic. A little bit, once again, that little bit of that backstory there. Uh, we always had popular magazine collections in print in our libraries, and obviously that kind of went away. And so we knew of Flipster. Everyone knows of Flipsters if they're in library land, and it provides a full image access to popular magazines and maybe some not so popular magazines, but we've primarily focused in on some of the popular titles like, People, Essence, GQ, Vogue, all that kind of stuff. And the back files just go back about 10 years. So we did this in the pandemic to continue to give that reading option for our students and really supporting our literacy goals as well. We're an academic library. We have certain types of goals, but literacy is a goal of every library, and getting people engaged in reading is important. So how Flipster works wonderfully is, and you'd mentioned on Wi-Fi, but really what is amazing about Flipster is yes, you have to access Wi-Fi at some point, but you can download the articles for offline viewing. And really that's the home run of these services now, is the offline viewing options that you have. So whether you're on a plane and you don't have the money to pay for that, or you're on a beach and you're a little bit away from a Wi-Fi hotspot, these things that you download, so it takes a little bit of prep time, but when you're prepping, you could have full issues of a particular magazine that you like to read, and you're good to go. The funny thing about Flipster too was that we ended up adding this because once again we're an academic library, so we also looked at it as potentially a great service for our graphic design students who need an actual page layout of a magazine, and I don't think it's been used in that way, but it's still out there. So I'm putting that out there for our graphics design and other people that kind of maybe have people review ads and that kind of stuff. So Flipster gives you all that because of the way it is presented.
I love the collaboration on that. So is it an app that people download to their phones or their device?
Yes, there's an app. I don't think you necessarily need an app, but definitely for offline. Yeah, you do need an app, actually. I think you do need to download the app. I haven't done it because I'm going on a plane flight coming up here tomorrow. So maybe I have to, practice what I preach and do some prep. And I have definitely done that though in the past. If I have a little bit of time, one other thing that kind of is similar in the sense that came from the pandemic is we have daily access to the Houston Chronicle. So every day, cover to cover, from just like Flipster, full image. And in that instance, it's really one of our hidden gems. This also came out of the pandemic. We lost access to newspapers, and that has an archive going back to 1901.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So
yeah, full image.
Yeah. So, my wife's a librarian, and sometimes, she hears from people, oh, libraries, you're just checking out books. Who checks out books anymore? Libraries are way beyond just checking out books. One of the things that students may not know that they can do with the collection here at HCC is streaming video.
Right. And let's face it, our particular collection really does focus in on academic stuff, documentaries and stuff. But let's face it, we're all pretty educated here at HCC. Our students they have a remarkable breadth of interests. So, but we have things like academic video online, Ambrose Video, which has a lot of documentaries, DocuSee, Alexander Street Video, are things that really are here to support our curriculum. But just the nature of things, that there's some very interesting titles in there. We also add things, and this will be a segue, I think, into our next question, if I'm not mistaken. We also have things on our Canopy platform. Now, Canopy actually is like an ad as you go type platform, and I'm sure they have other models as well. That's where we have videos that faculty request to directly support their courses.
Awesome. We've been talking a lot of internal collaboration, but I also know that librarians talk to each other, and there's a brotherhood and sisterhood among librarians out there. So I know you're keeping up with your colleagues with Houston Public Library and the outlying county libraries. What are some resources that our area public libraries have that
Sure.
you recommend our students check out?
Yeah, so I mean, I worked for Harris County Public Library for over 10 years. So,
Okay.
and I've also been a high school librarian at times in my life. So I've been in every library. So Houston Public Library and Harris County Public Library, we'll just use those. They also have tons of streaming services. And so I said the segue is for video, they primarily use Canopy. For popular things, and you basically get tickets, number of credits as somebody who has a card there to access these particular things. So they definitely have popular movies, TV shows, all that kind of stuff. And they have huge ebook and audiobook collections. And the really great thing about it is they tried to make things as easy as possible for you. You don't even have to go to the library. You can get a digital only card to access their digital content. If you're in the city and state, actually, you can get cards with them. And then once you get your card, really the important thing to do, the thing that brings it all together for them is something called the Libby app. So that's Libby app. And that allows you to do what I said that home run is that the ability to download and view these things offline. And so when I'm flying, actually, I do have a couple of books on the Libby app right now that I'm prepared to read on a short flight, but nonetheless, I don't need Wi-Fi access or anything else like that to do that. I can be on the beach. I'm not going to the beach, sadly. I'm going to the mountains, which actually is pretty awesome for me too. So
Yeah, nothing wrong with spending some time up in the mountains for sure. Sometimes people too can also check out things beyond just what we think of media. I know here at the Central Library, you can check out cooking equipment and work on your cooking skills this summer.
yeah, Daniel, you are truly well versed. Libraries are definitely checking out libraries of things, and we are leading and also following what our public library, other types of libraries do. Obviously they have the culinary program at Central's, one of the main hubs of the culinary program. So that's something that Erica Hubbard has really worked on to build there. But we have things, puzzles, you name it. We have puzzles for people to just take a mind break. We have other types of things at the Stafford Library. They have a whiteboard where you can just write stuff down that you're thinking and feeling and things like that. Our libraries do everything they can to provide a really welcoming, engaging environment for our students. And from what I see from our survey, we did a survey this spring, about 1,100 responses. We seem to be doing a pretty good job, and our students tend to really like our facilities. They tend to think our staff is friendly, which I think, as you might know, librarians are a pretty friendly group.
They are pretty friendly people. I think it's exciting, all the different things that are going on. We're going to take one final break, and when we return, why don't we take a little chat about what's going on in the fall?
I'm learning healthcare management while providing patient care.
I came back to grow my skills, even after I graduated.
And if I can't make it in person, I take my classes online.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
And welcome back to the topic. We're catching up with what's going on in our libraries here at HCC with Executive Director Mick Stafford. Mick, I had a few notes for the show here, and I see that we're migrating to a new library management system, which I assume is exciting. how's that going to impact the day-to-day student experience there? What changes can they expect?
Sure. Well, this is a way back story. So we've had the same library management system from the same vendor for decades. I've been here since 2015. We had just migrated to a new version of the same platform from an earlier version of it. And a library management system in general terms is that thing we use for you to find the materials in our collections, both online and physical materials, and also to check those materials out to you. So it really is the brains of our library operation. Obviously, you don't go into these things lightly. Anytime you change the platform that that does all this stuff for you. So, but this was just one of those times we had to see what we knew what the market had, but we had to formally go out to see what the market had. So we went out for RFP back in 2024, and Cersei Dynex has been around for a very, very long time in this library management game. Was who got awarded that RFP. So we've been starting to work with them. And it's really starting to get exciting now. We're digging in now. We're talking about how we're migrating our data, the policies we're putting in place, and all that. And so you mentioned what are the students going to see about this? One of the biggest things that they're going to see, obviously, what they see is our online catalog. That forward-facing interface that they use that does what you would expect it to, and this one does exactly that. They can also see what they have checked out, renew items, place holds, all that kind of stuff in there as well. But what our students will probably notice if they've been using our old catalog is that it definitely has a much more modern looking search interface. It looks more like a website than it does a catalog. It can be configured to look a little bit more like our existing website, which could be a good or a bad thing because sometimes you don't know what you're actually searching. And so it's going to also incorporate some other resources that you maybe wouldn't expect. They kind of have a discovery layer built into it as well, and we're going to work through a lot of that kind of stuff. And the go live is in November, but it looks like you might have some additional questions. I know this might be something.
Well, I was
I'm
just
excited.
Okay, so students access this through the website. Do they access it through My Eagle?
Yeah, so what you would see is you go to the library's website and there will be a search box just like we do now. Now our search box is actually to Eagle Library Search, which is our discovery layer. It's an EBSCO product. Right now, this is a different vendor. And you filter to the library results. Something like that will still exist in this interface as well. So the search box that's going to be most prominent on our website will be the discovery layer because that our students are research focused, so it incorporates both journals and magazines. So this product that comes to us with that capability, we're not exactly sure how we're going to bring the discovery layer online. So we still have EBSCO Discovery for another year. Our main focus, since we do have this tight timeline of November 20th, is to get this thing implemented. There's going to be about a week right towards the beginning of Thanksgiving where we won't be checking out materials as we really turn the switch off of one system. Not the best time in the world to do something like this, but it's the timeline we have. And we're going to do everything in our power to make it as seamless as we can for our students. But when it comes back, I think the students are going to have a very nice experience. They can opt into text messaging to know when their materials are about to come due. So it has some different other functionality that we're really excited about. We're really excited. And as we're digging into this now, it's looking good.
Well, that's great. And yeah, it sounds like it's just more internal changes, so they're not gonna need like to update their profiles or map anything over and nothing like that.
No, they'll use their Active Directory credentials to log into the system. So it's not going to be anything that they're not used to. It's just going to look a little bit different. And if they haven't actually ever used our catalog before, it's going to look exactly the same. It's the same system that Houston Public Library and Harris County Public Library use. So if they use those now, they're going to see a very similar experience.
Okay, great. And I also understand you're getting ready to use a new remote authentication tool. What does that mean?
Yeah, so we didn't have enough to do. So our previous library management system actually is what provided access to our databases remotely and our streaming video and flips through all these things that we've talked about remotely for our users. Obviously, when that goes, we didn't have an authentication solution. And there was some really nice reasons why we wanted to migrate to safety and security reasons, reasons, but also just to provide a more seamless login for our students to all of our resources. So this tool is called Open Athens, very popular tool for authentication to library resources. They've been in the business for a number of years, as long as people have been kind of doing this type of work. It's going to be, once again, using Active Directory credentials. It does things a little bit differently behind the scenes that we don't need to talk about in a show like this. But from our students' perspective, what they're going to see is they're just going to go to a login screen that's going to look maybe slightly different, but they're going to be putting in essentially the same information that they did before. One really cool thing about this is that they should only have to log in once a day, even if they're accessing multiple databases. So that can be a little bit quirky with our current system, and that should be something that that kind of goes away a little bit. We don't know when a go live date's going to be going on there, but we are going to do our best to put messages on our library's website. And who knows, maybe I'm angling for another visit by having these things kind of hanging out here for you.
You come back anytime you want. So
it probably won't need a half an hour, but but it might. We are once again, because of when we're doing this, we're a little bit concerned about when you change your remote authentication links to your databases, the resources that trigger you having to log in all have to change. But we're hoping that we do all that behind the scenes. Faculty might have to update some Canvas pages. So we're going to be working through our faculty, obviously, as well, to get the word out of things that they might have to do. But we think we can clean it up pretty fast on our own website, so it should be pretty seamless for folks.
Sounds great. It's exciting that, we're going forward with, new technologies and keeping cutting edge for our students there. I've got one last question for you. I've never met a librarian that is not excited to tell us what's on your summer reading list.
So a little bit of everything. The funny thing about it is that since I do use that Libby app, as you'd mentioned, so sometimes I just put a filter on there and I just get certain types of things coming to me. So right now I'm just reading a book that is focused in on somebody who knows and can see into the future and realizes he might be murdering somebody in his near distant future. So that you never know what you get when you aren't looking for anything. But it's been a good book so far, and I'll finish it off while I'm on my journey.
Yeah, you'll have to tell me about that when you finish. That sounds great. Hey, I'd like to thank you for coming in and updating with what's going on in the libraries. And I'd like to thank everybody out there for joining us today on the topic. If you enjoy the show, please follow us on Facebook and YouTube as Houston Community College District. To listen to the topic and more HCC TV programming, visit hccs.edu/podcasts. For everyone here at the topic on HCC TV, I'm Daniel Scholl.